Fantasies. Um, um, Probably, but no, that's not public, and I don't really wish to make it that way. So, no. So, no. It's so not like me, but the balls to do so, no, 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 I have enough balls. But it's just kind of like improper, uncouth, unethical, wrong, uh, just wrong, just no. Like, I wish, because it would be like, like, oh, I do admire them truly, but not at their cost and not at my own cost. It's one of them things where it's just like improper to fucking do. And even when you can think of someone, just put them there, because it's really probably what the fuck it is. I like all the normal people that people like and whatnot. So whatever the fuck. I don't know. Whatever. I wish I could comment more on that bullshit, but I don't know. I'm throwing out some of this stuff from my closet because it's just like, doesn't make any sense for why I should have to, or why it's the only thing you're interested in. And I can concede to being interesting, but I can't concede to people's bullshit about my privacy or my life, or like why the fuck you think I should have to, or why you really want me to, because it makes you feel more comfortable with the fucked up shit that you do, or the shit that you want public. Like, a lot of this shit is just like perverse motherfuckers who want me to gamble in on their interests, and this is all they could find of me. And even by the end of it, even when it's politically correct, kosher, and on my motherfucking side, and still like, like contemporarily decent, I still don't owe you anything. The big number one is I don't owe you a fucking thing about my privacy and shit. And then by the end of it, I put it out there because, or I put some of it out there just to figure out, like, if there's nothing wrong with it, then you're the only one harassing me because you're insecure and you want me out of the closet for something I didn't even do wrong, right? And it's not, none of it's even fucking public. So by the end of it, my privacy is none of your fucking business. And then even by the end of it, it would be like, what I do on my own terms is still not something that I think they should be ousted for, and whatnot. Even if they knew about it or not, the fucking answer is no. No. Then you just bust out randomly, leave Britney alone and shit. Like, you know what? I'm with that dude then. Because I'd rather be on his side than whatever the fuck you are. Because you really just like on the low scumbag perverts who want somebody else to be like on their level. And I'm just not. Like, dog, like everything I did would have been acceptably like decent in some ways, other than that you're not supposed to crush on girls when you're like a grown-ass man. And I am a grown-ass man, but like it's not like wrong, but it's just like my crushes aren't real. All my fantasies aren't coming to actuality like that. I don't have anything about that bullshit. And even if they secretly knew about it, there still should be like nothing wrong with the bullshit. So I sit there and I'm just kind of like, you really a pervert. Something wrong with you. And then when I look at their bullshit, or and literally all I really have to do is stop for a moment and realize that like, I'm not covering your ass. You're kind of just like trying to make it look like you basking in my shit, while what you did was so wrong that you hiding out under something that's like below the radar and not as bad as what the fuck you're doing, or not bad at all really, but it's just kind of like, you're not supposed to do that. And plus, the worst part of it is like, you always feel a cringe when I'm like, oh, she's married and she's in a relationship, that's why I'm not like illustering her. And it's like, bitch ass, she's married. Like, she's married, she's in a relationship. You know how many times I have to say in a day that, like, more than 6 times a day, minimal, more than 6 times a day, I gotta be like, she's married in a relationship, by the way. And I was like, I wish I was gay, and I wish I was fucking not a part of this fucking shit. But like, by the, or like, I wish there was something wrong with it so I could at least hide behind the fact that like, you hate me because, and like, but by the end of it, I look at the situation, I'm like, you sickos, because like purely all you want me to do is be worse and I don't owe you anything. Like, just go do your own fucking thing. I don't care what celebrities are like. I don't care what those motherfuckers are like. I don't care if my crushes are politically correct and it seems lame. I'm just not into it. Like, I can't believe that it drives people crazy in that fucking way, that it's just like so normal that you want to go, do some other shit like, choke me, pull my hair. I'm not into it. Get the fuck away from me. It's just a lot of shit I'm not into. Like, God, I wish I could fabricate something that like would bother you, but it just doesn't, and it sickens me. But like, whatever. And besides, it's not how I learned how to deal with things in life, is by annoying it. And if you're sicko, I hope you do feel bad about it. It's like vicariously living through me and you a sicko and I'm not a sicko. I'm glad every single bit of it cringes you and destroys you. I'm glad for that bullshit. Because it's kind of like, like you're as awkward as the motherfucker that goes to their wedding type of shit. And I like it that way. I like it that you can't go to their wedding. I like it that you a creep. I don't like it that you on me, and I wish you weren't. But it's still kind of like, if that's the vibe that you get and that's what frustrates you, I'm not sure why I should be frustrated too. That's your problem, not my fucking problem. I'm glad it eats you away and shit. I'm glad, you sick motherfucker, you sick son of a bitch. I wish I could whip you my motherfucking self, but also I'm not into BSDM, and the worse that it gets is the worse that it gets. You just worse and worse and worse, and there's nothing that I can really like in my actual personal responses respond to you. This is like I have to respond to you in another dimension of shit that I just don't do. Shit that I just don't do, motherfucker. Except that I just don't do. So, whatever. And I am an original piece and all that. And, like, there are facets to all of our different personalities and shit. So I wish you would just, like, let me be different, or go and do your fucking thing and leave me the fuck alone. I'm not your excuse. And I know you wish that, because it's like other brothers might be able to, even if, like, no, I don't. I think is you looking for a new low, and there's potential for it to be a new low. But then by the end of it, like, if I ever do publish any of that stuff, it'll be because, like, I asked for their permission, and just, like, even though it was kind of like, of course they're not into me, and, like, of course it'd just be like, oh, I see that that's somebody who just has, like, a crush, or, like, it's just a fanfare at worst to them. It'd probably be a better advertisement tool than why they would actually care. Or they would just be like, hey, that's low-key cool, just, like, stop bothering me, if it was personal, if it was like that. But, like, it just isn't, and I think you just hope for worse, so I doubt it. But, like, by the end of it, like, I get to the surface of, like, if I ever do release any of that, it'll probably be because they fucking, they fucking let me, or they let me have permission to, and I was kind of like, okay, then when I do, it'll just be like so that I can get the answers back from them about, like, why are you a creep? Like, why must you be ousted? Why are you all sickos? Cause like, it's so frail that I have no problem. It's not like something I have to hide. Like, it's just not something that I have to hide. And, people publish fan stuff without permission anyways all the fucking time. I'd just rather ask for permission. And, like, so I don't have to deal with, like, goddamn, you're not my boyfriend. What was that? And like, like, I prefer my husband. That's a big fear. I wouldn't owe them nothing. And, like, I wouldn't owe them nothing, but it's still, like, one of the things where, like, I would rather ask for permission that way. It just seems like what it seems like, instead of, like, something, like, too strong, than, like, they had to, like, argue with it, other than I'll argue with the rest of you motherfuckers, because you trampy ass men aren't what's supposed to have to do with me as a fucking things when I make. Like, you in my fucking privacy, and you don't fucking realize it, or you acting like that so that you can make it worse. And it's not like I secretly need help. If I wanted to come out of the closet about it, I could come out of the closet about anything that I wanted to. My admirations are so innocently fetal to myself that, like, you must feel ashamed, or you must worry about it to the point where you just want that shit ousted because you can't live with your fucking self about it. And, or like, you're hiding under my radar and I don't owe you anything. And that's the worst part. All I gotta do is turn the heat up in different little ways and like adjust a few things, and that's even worse for you. So I'm not sure why you would do it. I'm not even sure why anyone else that was clean too would want to provoke that, but that's not even the case. You just sicko. And sometimes love can be so run of the mill normal and every day blends into each other and it all seems like nothing. And then the only thing that really matters is that did you work out and eat a giant meal today and you still haven't taken a strong dump? Sometimes bowel movements are more important and regular routine structure. One of the most affectionate things that you can do is ensure and secure strong bowel movement for your lover or significant other. I'd like to take time to put a shout out to McDonald's and Coca-Cola. Hey, Coca-Cola. I'd like to take a bear type of poop, like a polar bear type of shit. But like by the end of it, like that's what matters in life is structure, integrity, support, and the declarance of strong, reliable infrastructure. And it's not like I don't have a lot of strong masters to thank. And I would like to thank them too with the gratitude and affection, but I can't because it leads to a lot of I'm your mother's penis bullshit. And then your sister's aunt's nephew is your uncle who, helped you guard the Upper East Side of Manhattan, was the motherfucker who backed you the whole entire way. And you're like, what the fuck, man? I just love you. I hope you take a strong bowel movement. Y'all, the reason why we can't have complicated relationships in this fucking house. And I thought it was that, Matthew. Now put 2 strong M's right there so that they know how I feel. And with such rewarding relationships, who has the fucking time to discern configuration? Mentally, the sound of my mangina is so odium to your discontent and aggression, mandate, diplomacy. It's weird. We never really had a problem until you realize that my vagina looks like theirs mentally, and I'm still kind of like, of course we would need diplomacy, but of course, we're in some kind of argument that I didn't even fucking know about. And then I realized it's like, wow, the Me Too movement scares the shit out of you motherfuckers. And it's kind of sad too, because as much as I know and am not involved in any of that shit, I still am like, what the fuck is with them? And every time I'm near something that I really got nothing to do with most of stuff, and what I know about it and backup plans and weird fucking things, don't dictate my position on any of those things. And I'm still kind of sitting there and I look at these things and I know about all of that stuff, but I don't know why it scares them. And we're not talking about my masses. We're talking about the people that who are so outspoken or so not really spoken. Cause you know how the business world works. It's not that anyone is outspoken. It's that people do things to nudge your life, to let you know that they noticed that you noticed something, and I noticed you noticing something, and I noticed you noticing me. And I'm like, what the fuck? They have a way of doing that. And we're not talking about just rich guy talk, because I don't communicate well with rich people. I'm a poor ghetto boy, so the hostility is trimmed fervently. I get real quick to the matter of if you want me to talk sideways to you, I will. I'll talk you out of the side of my motherfucking neck, but it's because you didn't want me to confront you. But by the end of it, it's still, yeah, I know you didn't want me to confront you, but I'm handling it ladylike, like it was supposed to be, they wanted me to, or whatever the fuck, respectfully and adequately and all that bullshit. Cause I would see that as adequate as the way they would see it. I still speak that kind of language. I just don't know why you have to be so against somebody who doesn't have a formal position on any of the matter, other than that I'm somehow slightly involved and my opinion could make or break things. And it's weird because I never gave one. And the other opinion that I don't intend to be in a defensive manner, it's just that like obviously I wouldn't reveal that opinion unless it was derived to the fact that it was like supposed to be at a time that made sense, but to you it's like the opposite. And it's just like, why are you showing me your mask on a pseudo level on the underground when, like, if you have nothing to do with it and you're not guilty of anything, why do you need to, like, you know, like headbutt me a little bit to let me know that you're involved with it? And of course, it's not one of my masters. It's just like near one of them. And I'm like, is this what you all were working up to? Because, like, remember, I'm just a fucking rapper. I may have some power. I may not, and I'm certainly not a pimp. I reject that pimping shit. But when it comes to, like, you know, some girl power or looking around and realizing what the fuck they're talking about and that I should do something, like, what the fuck do you mean there is to do? These people are victims, motherfucker. Like, they, no matter what, they're fucking victims. And even when I'm looking at them and I'm like, oh, you found something like a woman inside of a woman, why are you, like, you know, being like, oh, you're not guilty? What the fuck? Like, okay, they like dick. That doesn't mean that there wasn't a sicko. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, they like dick. Yeah, that doesn't mean that you're not a sicko. Do you know what dick is like? Like, you know, sometimes I should, like, you know, I should get some of the motherfuckers. But anyways, like, but by the end of it, it's just like the masculinity should be put in you for not understanding how to talk to them and shit. The administration that I'm speaking to, of course, has no bounds on what the fuck they are actually doing to feel anything about it. It's just like they like power. And after a while, you don't realize that when you're getting your ass kicked with them or like by them or like near them, they're trying to tell you that they're aroused by power, but they always feel what? Negative towards everything that they do because it's only for power. But power is a tool, so you'll always feel alone in the end because power will never be on your side because it's an object. You're an imbecile, so you'll always feel alone and broken. So how the hell are you trying to put that on her when that's your male facade? And even when they try to, like, teach you that it's available for us, then you see how complex life is? It's just fucking disgusting, isn't it? And even, like, in order to say anything about it, you have to put yourself on the line for it. And it's like, I don't even believe this shit. I just need to translate for another master who understands that, like, whether I'm turning on them or not, I don't owe you anything. And even he doesn't owe them anything. And then by the end of it, I'm still kind of like, I really don't have anything to do with this. But it's still kind of like, my ability to save him and rationalize the other isn't even as important as, like, why the hell are you a sicko? Because I can't even help but be so clinically clean that when I'm dealing with them, I'm like, but wait, I understand all that, but why are you a sicko? Because you're still a sicko. You're just, like, you have power and you're a sicko. And even though I used, you know, GIFs in this particular posting, do not idealize what I'm talking about with them, even though all of them are well known and all of them have something to do with a bunch of, like, different things that people should be aware are, like, you know, a woman's self-odium to herself. And, like, that's what I call that shit. So I remember it for them being strong for their own fucking reason, but it doesn't have anything to do with overall anything, but it's just, like, not in this manner anyway, but in the other stuff where people, like, don't understand what it's like to be a sub to other masters that just ain't gay. Like, it's just like, we understand formidably what's going on, and the word formidably is being used in a way to understand that what it's like to know how to, or whatever you have been instilled with. And it's like, see, this is why we don't do this, young man, or this is why these women aren't exactly what they're saying that they are, but the defense of them is impossible because it's impossible. or like because the description isn't fucking possible. And it's not that it's impossible, it's that our reservations don't belong to the enemy because we're not fucking sickos. And even people would just want more. And the ones that are sickos of that bullshit are baiting it just because it's distracting to the ones that are innocent of that bullshit but are still guilty of trying to make a world a sicker place just to see if they can have compassion for themselves or find compassion for themselves in a world that doesn't want to be with them because, well, you're sicko. And or like you're furthermore have something to hide. And it's like, even if you're just nervous, it still would be like, what's the other thing that the other people are hiding? Because it's making it worse than what we're dealing with. It makes the suspicion seem like, well, the other person's closet is starting to show and they want to blame you because your softness is louder than them. What kind of a world do we live in where my frail beauty is louder than the crime that they're committing on the underground, or what is so coherently, visibly disgusting that we can't even confront it because it's improper to confront something that's disgusting? So love is a crime because we shouldn't subdue or capture the people that are against it, because that also is a crime, because love is a crime, because no one should be better than anyone, but that's not how we're living anyway. Well, like, what the fuck? There's so much convoluted bullshit and all this that it's the things that you don't say. So every time somebody addresses it logistically or logically or in a way that they can fucking really, like, surface this bullshit, it's a crime, too, because we have to catch them, and our ineptability to catch them is a crime. We're ashamed of we couldn't prosecute some motherfuckers that were wrong. That's not the crime. The crime is that we're not trying to make it make sense so that the sacrifice is their stupidity. Fuck yeah, that's how I want it to feel. But of course they would rather feel ashamed. Why? Like, can't you just like clean it up, put it to fucking surface? That's what I wanted to do, but every time I do, motherfuckers like, and even my own masters would be like, no, this is not how you address them. And even when they're not teaching me anything but like some shitty ass resilience or some or some like, if you love her, go to her. God damn it, no, boss, that's not my fucking type. And I just wanted you to feel like how I felt, because it's just like, of course I wasn't into any of the stuff. Like, I'm going my own fucking direction, but then what do I have to do with them? And I can never really figure out what I have to do with them other than that my frailty is in the way of their implicit garbage. And like, I don't even have a fucking problem with them, but it's like, why are you like trying to get me to sick them? Like, you keep trying to get me to like eat them, and I'm like looking at it and I'm like, I've never felt more like Bill Compton in all of my life than these scenarios. And I realized, like, oh, because we're supposed to hate some hoes. And now I don't have any fucking hoes. I don't even like look at them as hoes. So where, even though that my master's right about something, this is not what he's talking about. We're on the defense of some things, but when it comes to the other few things that they're talking about, like why they keep trying to get me to eat those things, and I'd be a great eater, but my problem is that I'm not really against them, and it's morally incorrect to be against some women. Like, just like, they're always gonna have 80%. Like, why should I attack them if everybody else is at 120 and 160 at the room? Like, you know what I'm saying? I see no reason. And like dude, it's weird because society really is a bunch of fucking vampires. Shit is convoluted as shit. And of course they intended that bullshit, but it's like, do you think that that's really going to get in the way of a bunch of court cases and a bunch of what people actually have to go work out for themselves? Day-to-day life had nothing to do with it. Well, kind of, because I'm like, you wish that this was like, like, but it's like, God damn it. But like by the end of it, it's not like I don't know. I'm just kind of like, that's some sicko shit. Cause like, how the hell are you supposed to say all that shit without infringing on people's lives and shit? And like, of course, freedom of speech and the Constitution and such. But the Constitution also includes is like, were you uncomfortable with that? Cause I didn't really fucking want to talk about that anyways. And I don't even know how we got wrapped up in this subject. But by the end of it, like, the quarreling of my infatuation has nothing to do with my admiration for any of them, and said so sodium and so on, carpe diem and sodium, because I'm not throwing salt at some bitches for sodiums. So I rap because I have the ability to get out of things, or that's just my nervous reaction to everything is wrong. I better go rap again. Yeah, like, what the fuck? So like, I don't even know what my mental issue is. But then when I look at the whole situation, does anyone else want to fix this, or is there some other reason why you're bothering me? And like, why bother me if I'm just gonna go do something else anyway? And like, I look at the whole situation. You know what? What was this conversation about again? Oh yeah, the people are interested in my admiration more than other things, and like, technically, I just want to go back to minding my own fucking business. But then when I look at the whole situation, I'm like, none of this makes any sense. There's still some hoes, whores, bitches. All right, fuck it. You're not my type. I gotta go. Don't worry about it. I'll try to make this make sense later, because it's not like I wanted you to be ignorant. No, I didn't want you to be ignorant. That's not my goal. I don't want you to be stupid and ignorant. It doesn't actually help me. It doesn't actually make me feel good inside and warm and fuzzy. It just doesn't. So that's not my goal. So when I can arrange that appropriately, I will. But then by the end of it, just remember that none of these women are hoes for a little while. So that way, when we get back to the explanation beyond kingmanship and assertiveness and all this other bullshit, you'll actually be able to understand the non-prosecution of the victims. No, doesn't make any sense. All right, I'll be back in a little bit. Like, I'm gonna go bust a cigarette and have some drink for myself to not stress you. To not stress you. To not stress you. To not stress you. You ever like looked at your personality and it's like, oh, you in love with me because I make you feel like hoes. And then like by the end of it, you're sitting there, and I implied all of those things, even including how I said it. But like, did you ever realize that like, I can't give you what you want because I'm not a hoe? And like, even if you love me like you love hoes, I remind you of them, but you won't free them either. Like, you like talent or something, right? Because otherwise, I'm not a hoe. Like, I'm not even gay. You not a faggot, or no, you not gay either. So, like, fuck off, right? Or like, why do you have to treat them like that if I'm gonna be with them? And I'm not with them. I'm not even into them. They're not even my fucking type at all whatsoever. And like, even when I love the little Maroni one. But like, you know why I love her? Because like, all she did was like smile on TV and made us all international for a moment. She's still somewhat cultural into equity. So there's nothing for me to say about what my choices are in life. Oh, culture and tech, I just throw them in that filing cabinet. I don't have a choice of like what a bitch is. And even when I'm in a filing cabinet, I'm defending this filing cabinet because I'm not going to be stuck here being attacked and attackwoodized in some fucking way where, like, if we're not an object and you know why we're highly apprised, then you won't be, like, fucking with me like that or dealing with me like that. That's just bottom line of that. I deserve and command my motherfucking respect or some shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about. As long as this area looks like clean and all that shit and so on, and then we're dusting it off and shit, and we're going back to minding our own business. That's all. But otherwise, it's like, why the fuck are you so hard on them when we're damn near in their filing cabinet for being innocent? So everyone's a whore. And it's weird because, like, even when you're, like, a clean, astounding man, and, like, there's nothing that we can, like, reflect back on this because they want us to be with some hoes, and we're, like, dude, I'm not a hoe. I don't even need to be with some hoes over, and I don't think any less of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Look what you have done, and all you wanted me to do was attack them. After a while, the legalities of it is that, like, you know, at the so wait, let's start over. In a galaxy far, far away, at the Galactic Republic and shit, like, what the fuck? Never mind. Never mind. Just never mind. It was a galaxy far away. Just fucking forget it. Don't worry about it. It has nothing to do with us. These motherfuckers is weird, man. Like, just talk to me in nerd then, because y'all don't speak any other language that I can tolerate enough to not have to, like, argue with you about what the price of a drink is at the fucking bar and how you should tip them because you already owe them money for services rendered and shit. And you should just do it to be polite because it's not something that we fucking request. And I sit here and I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't make sense to you, you sicko, then. Because, like, you should have just already been courteous to us with how much bullshit that I think that we have to deal with. And I'm looking back at them and I'm like, no, all right, then fuck off because I don't owe you anything. And because, like, it just doesn't make any sense that you would even figure out to bother me. And I'm like sitting there, like, even when I don't really have that much to do with it, I'm not a pimp. I'm not any of these insults that you already given me before the fact that I was just, you know, the one that they wanted to respond to you. So I'm going to close the door because even a beautiful, big, illustrious, brown bouncer can't help you get rid of your shit ass problem. Then don't owe me anything because I closed the door on this and you're not welcome to this nightclub. Stay the fuck away from me and my admiration. Yeah. I know they some hoes, but then don't look at them with me. Then that's all I ask, because otherwise you like want me to be a sicko or to attack them hoes, and I don't owe you anything, because it's like the value of your number one priority isn't their issue. Like, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't change the definitive of you or why you want it to be attacked because it's near it. I don't owe you. It's like we were running a nightclub and you asked the manager just to be rude to a customer so that they could look big and make them leave and shit. Like, but like, just because I own a nightclub doesn't mean that I have the right to do that or that I would want to ever do something like that. And not literally. I'm talking about in these scenarios where it's like, why are you doing this? Like, you know, no. And I may not be the most powerful person in the world, but my ability to say no is going to go throughout the echoes of sanity of all the whole universe. So, oh well, like one clapping is the sound of the whole world saying, no, we just did not want to hear it. Leave us all the fuck alone. You don't get it? No, it doesn't make any sense. Because like, even when I'm like being very garbagey to a point where it's like, I don't know if this needs to be convoluted or uncoherent, but it just kind of gotta be for some fucking reason, then like by the end of it, no one's a hoe, we don't owe you anything, we just have to leave it there. I don't even care how many hoes you show me, and then like we sit there and laugh for 4 or 5 hours about how they're not a hoe, even though they're clearly like, you know, an assortment of a woman. But like, even when one of them isn't a hoe, now all of them can't be hoes, because we can't lesser the value of all women or all life, really. Because to me, you were talking about life, was women is my life or some shit, but by the end of it, like, you're lessening life, and I don't believe in that. Even for admiration or illustration or whatever the fuck that you think that I'm talking about or dealing with. So to get me to step down my argument, which I don't have an argument because I'm not in an argument. So it's just like, to get me to step down something, I just don't owe you. And how is she supposed to explain or admit herself if she can't even get out of this one thing or get out of this or that or any other few exchanges with you to send one basic message to them through the market, through the ego, or through the overall ideological sphere of what the fucking universe is worth? Like, if it has no value to anyone, then why are you seeming greedy now when we have to put you on a pedestal for what your accusation is towards the women's? No, all right, fuck it. I'm done here. I just don't owe them because then it's either too convoluted or I'm too surfacey to what I'm not accusing anyone of. Like, what the fuck? Like, you convoluted motherfuckers. The word is convoluted then. Like, let's just put this filing cabinet over here, and then we'll put the giant word convoluted over top of that fucking filing cabinet, and then I'm gonna go live, and I don't owe you anything again. And then when you say pheasant marsupial or a quadruped or some weird shit, we won't respond to you again, no matter how low the status or insult or whatever the fuck it is that you're calling all of us. We don't owe you. I don't owe you. I'm not even a fucking pimp. I was some dude minding my own business, like just trying to explain to you in different ways without ousting you to the point where like it's definitive that it's understood between all parties that it doesn't make sense. I didn't even want to be referee, fuck you. And it didn't even make any sense that like the person couldn't acknowledge the description to use self or otherwise in order to respond or retaliate the appropriate way for you to understand that the other person understood. Capiche? 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 Capiche, etc., childish, isn't it? Etc., convoluted. And no, it doesn't have, this is not how it works. Okay, then you tell me how it works. That's what I thought. Etc. And just because I'm confrontational and I don't back down from beasts doesn't mean that I'm gonna fucking show up incorrectly or do and make a mistake or be an impulsive jackass. It just doesn't work that way. So meeting your like other threat or something, which is like what you turned me into, because like, I wasn't attacking. It's just like you were checking and cleaning a house to a certain point where it was like not a house, but like, you know, arbitrarily a house or something, or cleaning your filing cabinet out in a way that was like so fucking wrong, and like you're so evil that like you just want evil people in your house so that you can live with yourself. But even by the end of it, like even when I'm not there and like I have nothing to do with it, and the only person you could find was me, who was just like, nah bitch, I'm not a hoe. And it's weird because like a man has to tell you he's not a hoe just because like you don't realize that you're no longer beefing with some hoes or something, or things that can't stand up for themselves or whatever the fuck. And then like you think that because I'm impulsive that I have to make a mistake. No. I gave it a lot of a 2-second moment thought to know that I was already right about something, because I'm simply not guilty. I don't have to actually organize or clean up that kind of shit before I say something, because I'm not fucking guilty. That's the beautiful part about being innocent about things. That's a beautiful part about living a good life where you're not a piece of shit or an asshole. Like you don't have to watch your back so hard for yourself. Like your evil twin isn't there because you did something wrong yourself and you have to recognize it. You don't have to have a twin fucking bring that out for you, or you don't have to remember it that way like it was some evil mustache of your ass and shit. Like you just wrong. That's all that it is. So I can respond back innocently and see where I'm at, because I know I didn't do anything fucking wrong. Everything about this is convoluted, and I want it out. Etc. And what do you want, right? And now you want me to argue with the girl? Of course I don't know. Of course I have to ask for permission. Of course I didn't fucking do anything other than try to get myself out of there. And then it's like, what? We're together? Okay, then let's move. I'm moving this UFO, whether anyone likes it or not. Be comfortable or something, or if you're uncomfortable, go. I don't know. I don't owe them anything. I'm leaving this conversation. I don't know how any of this is my fault, but I'm moving the UFO. Like I'm moving this UFO away from this, etc.